Hey friends, before you go on that green card, things are starting to get really interesting with U.S. immigration. Can Donald Trump give you a green card? Hey guys, before you file for your spouse, Hello. Come on in. Welcome to Monday's live Q&A show. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey, an immigration lawyer in New York working with clients nationwide at McBean Law. I hope you guys had a terrific weekend. I've started just a few minutes late here. It's kind of a busy day here at McBean Law. We're going to see how far we could get today in this Q&A. Come on in, type in freedom now, freedom now, freedom now. And while you're doing that, friends, if you have not had a chance to subscribe to this channel, subscribe now. And certainly hit the notification bell so that you'll be the first to get notice of these live sessions each week. Thank you. Come on in. Hey there, Jonah. Good to see you. Freedom now, freedom now. Angela, hey, freedom now. I did publish a very short video on social media today telling you guys what freedom now means to me and what we mean by that at McBean Law. It means freedom from bondage. Bondage, immigration problems can feel like bondage. You're stifled, it's suffocating, you can't breathe. So what we talk about at McBean Law is freedom from all of that, the pressures of this immigration system, particularly those of you who have been tied up for many years. It's great to see you. Thank you for being with me today. All right, let's get going with your questions. I'm going to answer some of your immigration questions at this time. Let's see, DT Orange is asking, can you reopen my case? Can we reopen? So we have a lot of testimonials about reopening immigration cases that for folks who have were in the removal system, and they have a removal order issued against them because they did not win their case in court. And for many of you, you're still here in the United States of America. And so for some of you, there's a process that would allow us to reopen the case and have you be considered for a green card, either through the judge. It really depends on the case, but most times it's to reopen your case and close out everything against you, and then go to USCIS with your green card case and waiver case. For some of you, you will need a waiver. So read our success stories, DT Orange, on our website. As a matter of fact, we published a success story on yesterday, about a Nigerian client whose case it's a prosecutorial discretion case, lengthy history, and with the government suspecting that he was part of marriage fraud. And he had a couple of marriages to U.S. citizens, denied I-130s, and the story, just a lot of flags that the government saw in his file, and they placed him in removal proceedings. And we were able to get him out of court, get that case dismissed, so now he could breathe, right? He could take a breath. Hey there, Wilbert. Thank you so much. So go read that story, guys, if you have not seen it. It's went to our subscribers yesterday. Hey there. Thank you. Freedom now from Yonkers. All right, Yonkers is in the house. Wilbert is asking, if you have the permanent bar, can you file for a green card with prosecutorial discretion? If you have the permanent bar, and so you cannot apply for the green card with the permanent bar. Okay, you cannot apply for the green card with the permanent bar. Freedom now from Trinidad and Tobago. All right. Anything new on DACA? I do not have anything new on DACA, aside from the fact that the Fifth Circuit heard oral arguments a little over a week ago. And I have not seen the decision yet or the order. Whichever direction it goes, everyone is predicting that it's going to eventually go up to the Supreme Court. All right. As soon as there's a decision on the DACA Fifth Circuit case, I will be sure to let you guys know the decision. Hey there, Thinley. Good to see you. Thank you. Any news on parole in place for spouses of U.S. citizens? That's also still going through the litigation process. There are motions, briefs, I should say briefs are being shared by both sides. The judge is telling both sides to brief him on certain issues, and so some data and some information is being shared right now. Follow those details on TikTok. There are a lot of different folks on TikTok who are breaking it down by reading each of those briefs. I'm paying attention certainly more so to the bigger picture for parole in place, and right now the bigger picture is November 5th hearing, but most likely going to be a bench trial there, in which the judge will make a decision on the case. And we don't know. Some people are talking about the possibility of other things happening. I'm not going to predict anything. I'm waiting, just like you, for an outcome on November 5th. November 8th is still the date that the stay is expected to be lifted. Right now, USCIS is still accepting your application filing fees and applications, but they cannot process the cases during this time. Thank you, guys. Freedom now, guys. Come on in. Hey there, Nathan. We started a little late today due to my schedule and some other happenings here. Thank you for being flexible and for being with me. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Someone says, Nathan is asking a question about, he says he's a green card holder. He wants to go to Jamaica and marry his fiancée and file for her and the son as well. Okay. And you can marry whoever you choose to as a green card holder. Once you go to Jamaica, once you're married to your Jamaican wife, the child can also be part of the case and enter the United States successfully with the child. It's just gonna take maybe 2 years, 2+ years for this process because of the backlog in the category that your fiance or soon-to-be wife and stepson will be in. Thank you. Freedom now. Someone says, I was trying to come and visit you in person and have to and explain my case to you in person so I could get my case going to reopen. All right, make it happen. It's not that hard. Just get on the calendar. I'd love to meet you. We could meet here in White Plains, or if you want in Queens. White Plains is a little more flexible. Thank you. Let's see. Bullets. Bullets 408 says, how long does it take after the biometrics, meaning the review of the application? So it depends on what type of case you have, Bullets. It depends, right? It's how long after, what type of case did you file? How great of a job did you do? Did you include everything that was required of you to include? Will you get an interview notice? Will you get a request for evidence? All of these things will matter, okay? All of these things will matter. Hold on one second. So let me get out of Teams right now to avoid the distraction. All of those things will matter, Bullets. So just be patient and let's see how things go for you. If you encounter any problems, certainly reach out to us. We'd be happy to take a look at where things are. Hey there, Tia. Good to see you. Tia, thank you. Thank you. I don't know anything about the T6 visa. Hey there, Carolyn. Thank you for being here as usual from Savannah. Let's see. I've talked about parole in place already. Thank you. Let's keep going. If my son is still married, how soon can he start filing for citizenship? I was told 2 years and 8 months. If your son got his green card, Carol, through a wife, and they're still together, he's eligible for early naturalization, and it usually happens at the 2.9-year mark of being a resident. Hey there, Linda. Freedom now. Tell me, guys, where you're watching from. Thank you. Sandra, nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Someone says, I have a failed reinstatement F1 student. I overstayed. Will I have any issues with my marriage green card case? Whether you will have issues, Joseph, with your marriage green card case will depend on if the government finds any fraud and misrepresentation on any previous applications that you had applied for. F1 students, F1 students who come to the United States and they enroll in school and complete their program and then overstay for whatever the reason is to overstay, and then they try to get a green card through a spouse later on. Many of them are successful with that process. There are times when other F1s come to the United States, they never had any intention whatsoever of enrolling in school, and so they're not going to spend money, right, on courses when that wasn't the intent of coming to the US. So they just blow the whole thing off, and then later on in life they decide they're going to go through a marriage green card process. Well, those people are the ones who typically encounter pushback from the government, and the government, for some people who we've worked with, okay, speaking of just years of experience here, people we've worked with, the problem they faced is that the government accused them of using their visa for the wrong reason. And so the government asked them for a waiver during the green card process. And then we worked on them with a waiver, and then they were successful. So it's possible to overcome. Most people overcome the F1s who did not get reinstatement and overstayed. Freedom now, guys. Hey, Karen. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you. Denaturalization. All right. Someone says he wants to talk about denaturalization. Any comment on Miller's denaturalization? That's Stephen Miller's denaturalization process being turbocharged. I'm now scared, U.S. citizen born abroad. I don't think you should be afraid. I'm surprised you're even watching this show. You're free. You're free. All right. Denaturalization is super complicated, very hard to do, a lot of resources. It's litigation. The government doesn't really like that. And Trump was not successful during his first term of denaturalizing many people, those who are on his agenda. It just didn't happen. It's hard to do. It takes years. It takes investigation. It takes a lot from the government. And so Miller denaturalization project would require more lawyers for the government. They're hard to find. I would never want to go work for them, for the government. Many lawyers would not, because of the pay, the salary, the working hours, the conditions. Yes, there's a little prestige there, but who cares when you are not making much money, right? Or a good salary. So the recruitment, they have to recruit, right? Recruitment is hard for the Department of Justice. And so it's one of those things. The Department of Homeland Security is under the Department of Justice. That's why I said Department of Justice. For anyone wondering, like, she doesn't know that it's DHS who hires them. Well, yeah, DHS is part of DOJ. So anyway, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. The ones who should be worrying about that are those who were military people back in their country, and they used fraud to come to the United States, changed their identity, used an alias. Those are the ones who the government likes to denaturalize, because those stories sound great to tell the American people. All right. Thank you, guys. There's a huge backlog. I'm from Bangladesh. Whose backlog? Say something about the matter. Which backlog are you referring to, Ahmed? Which category? Are you going through an employment process, a green card process? There is a backlog in all of those categories, because Congress has said each of those categories, we're only going to distribute or give away. Let's give away the green card. We're giving away. The government will only allocate a certain number of visas each year, and so that it creates this backlog, and it's growing, and it's very frustrating for many people. Thank you. Someone says they filed for U-Visa since 2016. U-Visa takes 5 to 7 years for the process. Thank you. Thank you. So Lindo is asking, when your lawyer files for the prosecutorial discretion, do you get a receipt or a notification of some sort? So Lindo, it's kind of one of those process where you're kind of in the dark as a client, okay? Here's why: because it's not like a filing to USCIS and you do get a copy of your receipt sent to you by USCIS. The prosecutorial discretion process is lawyer to lawyer, behind the door, the wall, the veil, and so clients don't see what's going on, and you've got to trust your lawyer. Lawyers get really annoyed when clients say to them, "Send me an email, send me a confirmation of the prosecutorial discretion request that you sent to the government." They hate that, but you have a right to know. You have a right to ask that question, okay? You have a right. And so it's usually an electronic filing process to DHS, and then it's email to email from that point on, okay? From the ICE attorney to your attorney. That's just how it works. That's the culture and that's the process. So there is no receipt notice, all right? Hey there, Jacqueline from Connecticut. Guys, I'm moving a little fast today because short on time. We started really late, and I'm not sure if I have a full half an hour. I have someone showing up to meet with me momentarily. Thank you. He's running late, so I said, oh, I can do my live now. Thank you, guys. Hey there, Jonah. Thank you. Jonah says that I've been here for 8 years. I came here on a tourist visa. What is the best way to get the green card? Jonah, I gotta do a video like that. What the best way to get the green card? So, Jonah, honestly, as a visa overstay, if you're married to a U.S. citizen, some would say that's the best way because it's adjustment of status, it's straightforward, it's faster now here in the US, adjustment of status. So some would say that's the best way. If you have an adult, you look like you're too young to have a child that's over 21 or older. But if that's the case, then that person could file for you. Some would say that's the best way. Those two particular processes are truly the best way that people get a green card in the United States in an overstay, after overstaying a visa. For some very small few who are lucky enough to be eligible for Section 245I, that works for them, and then that's their best way of getting a green card. All right, but as a visa overstay, 8 years, I would stay away from trying to file for asylum, for a work permit and social, because that could be a trap and get you caught up in the immigration removal system. Hey there, Freedom Now, Freedom Now, Freedom Now. Oh, the T visa, okay, Connie. Yes, Connie says her lawyer told her to file the T visa. If you have a case, only 5,000 visas, T visas, are issued each year. Congress, that's the number. And our USCIS says it doesn't even receive that many applications. Very, very few people are eligible for T visa. But here's what I recommend. And I'm not taking food out of my own mouth here by telling you this. Who was it, Connie? Okay, I'm not taking food out of my mouth, okay, because we have plenty to manage here, and there's a lot to go around with immigration. My recommendation is this: if you have a T visa case, work with a T visa expert attorney. And I'm even going to make a shout out here to someone. Look for a firm or an individual or a lawyer who has a reputation for winning T. Don't just go to any random attorney. Don't just go to any attorney specifically on TikTok who are just talking about T visas, because it doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually doing it successfully. Look for the ones who are really doing this successfully. And I know one who is, and it's McBean. Not me, but the white guy, McBean, in Utah. All right? That guy, that attorney, he's getting it done. He knows it. And he's the type, from what I've seen from consultations from other people who have worked with him, he will tell you you do not have a case, or you do have a case. And if you do have a case, he can work on it. And he's really good from what I've been told through the grapevine. His name is also McBean, okay? But it's the white guy in Utah, not this McBean. So shout out to him, okay? Sometimes people go to him thinking they're coming to me. And so he says, oh, this one is for you. This two McBeans. All right, Karen, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Woo, I feel so terrific right now. All right, thank you guys. Now let's see. Ivy says, if I have a conditional green card, would it be possible to file for my mother or is it a green? You can't do it, Ivy. You cannot file for the parent, not until you become a U.S. citizen. U.S. citizens are the only ones who could petition for a parent. Green card holders, whether it's a 2-year green card or a 10-year green card, are only able to petition for a spouse and a child who's under 21 and a child who's over 21. You could petition for those 3 categories of people, but not a U.S. citizen. Dana, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Guadalupe, awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, so Wilbert is wearing his hat in a particular way there. Okay, so Wilbert says, even if the individual traveled with TPS, temporary protected status, and came back, okay, travel with TPS, advance parole, comes back into the United States, he or she could not apply for prosecutorial discretion and get a green card. So, Wilbert, I'm just going to try to understand what you're saying here, okay? So, an individual who traveled, let's say you have TPS, right? Like you say here, the individual has TPS and they get advanced parole, which allows them to leave the country. And then they come back in and they have a record now of a lawful entry into the U.S. Well, what can be done with that? What can be done with that is if you pair that lawful entry with a petitioner who could file for them for a green card, and you have a good I-130 approved, and if you have the need for prosecutorial discretion has to do with being in court and having a removal order maybe, or you're in court actively, you have a hearing coming up. If that's your situation, certainly, well, if you're active in removal, you can't leave the United States anyway, but if you have a removal order and you leave on advanced parole, you'll be able to come back in through the advanced parole document itself. So once you have a good I-130 approved, then prosecutorial discretion can be sought, certainly. But Wilbert, if you'd like us to thoughtfully think about the problem, have a discussion with us. We'd be happy to work with you. Emma, hey there, Emma, you're asking about filing the I601A waiver. Can I file the adjustment of status together as well? Emma, so the I601A waiver is routing you back home to the U.S. Embassy to finish the process and get the immigrant visa. People who need that waiver typically are not eligible to adjust their status in the United States for whatever the reason. They're just not eligible. So you can't do both. You can't do the 601A and do adjustment of status. That actually doesn't make much sense, right? It's either you're eligible to adjust your status, and if so, adjust your status. Or if you're not eligible for adjustment of status, get your 601A in at the right time in the process, and then wait those 3 to 4 years that it takes for the approval, and then go overseas through the visa center process. If you need help clarifying what's going on with your case or what the strategy should be, reach out to us. Our phone number is scrolling below, 914-898-9488. That's our new local number. Hello there, Island. Luis, good to see you. Bonsoir. That's nice. Thank you very much. Let's see, what else do you guys have for me? Thank you for joining. Type in freedom now, guys, and give some thumbs up and engagement as you're coming on board. We started late today. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so if not to say that the rest weren't good, but this is a good one. All right, this is a good one. If you file for VAWA and you got an RFE stating that you were married in your DS-160, the travel agent in Nigeria was the one who said you are married on your visa application before coming to the U.S. What can be done, knowing very well that you were not married in real life in Nigeria? So guys, you get the scenario. In this scenario, the marriage, before coming to the United States, the individual worked with a travel agent in Nigeria, and the travel agent put on her visa application that she's married. I think this is a she. let's just say she, I don't know, that she's married. She comes to the US, gets her visa, comes to the US, moves on with her life, marries a US citizen. It doesn't work out. I don't know if he filed for her and then now VAWA, I don't know. But now there's VAWA, domestic violence case, green card case. USCIS is looking at her VAWA case and wait a minute. We also looked at your visa application and we see here that you claim to have been married to John Doe back in Nigeria. Explain yourself. Where's the divorce decree? When were you divorced? Just give us the divorce decree. And you're saying, but wait a minute, that was actually a misrepresentation. Why? So that I could get the visa to come to America, right? That was a misrepresentation. Or for some people, few of you, it was just a mistake, right? Whatever scenario it is, USCIS now wants to review this and you have to explain yourself. We handle those kinds of requests for evidence. Contact us. Time is of the essence, absolutely. Because the thing is this, with VAWA, if you have to prove that you were free to marry your U.S. citizen spouse. Because if you cannot prove that you were free to marry him, you have no VAWA case. Okay, it's really critical. So what we do, we've seen this so many times, whether it's with a VAWA case or a marriage case, we know exactly what this looks like. And for some people, some of our clients, we have to do a waiver. For some people, it just depends on the case. For others, we do an explanation and it actually works, and it goes all the way until the end to approval. It depends on the case. So certainly work with an attorney who has the experience of this in this kind of problem. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you. Let's see, let's keep going. If I answered a part of your question earlier, I will not be touching on the second part because I know there are a lot of questions. Thank you. Jean says, what can I do now with my status? I'm on TPS, but I also have a 21-year-old son. So Jean, you have a 21-year-old U.S. citizen son. He should file for you. But if you're saying, well, here's my real problem. My real problem is I know I have my child is golden, 21. But I didn't enter America properly. I came in by boat, or I used someone else's visa, or I worked with someone back home and they got me a U.S. citizen passport. And, so if you have problems with your entry, then the U.S. citizen son cannot help you. In order for you to be successful, it depends on whether a waiver can help you and you're eligible for that waiver. And then the other thing to consider too, Jean, is whether you are in removal or not. We work on all these complex scenarios. There's always so many layers to the stories. So for some people, hey there, Gloria, good to see you. Good to see you. I was actually talking to her late last night, as a matter of fact. Not a client, an old good friend, prayer warrior. Thank you, Gloria. Good to see you. Big shout out to you. So for these scenarios, guys, these scenarios, always layered, and we unpack the layers, peel away the onion so that we could see if yours is a case that we could take and help or not. Okay, thank you. Let's keep going. Hey there, Sarah Freedom. Now, good to see you. As usual, thank you for being here today. By the way, if anyone places a link in the comment here, I won't be able to, I'm not clicking on links, and I don't think what I'm using here, my setup would allow for me to click on your link today. But if I think that it might be informative after the show, I might go back in and check out the link, okay, especially Bloomberg Law. Okay, Bloomberg Law, which I do read. Let's see. I'll go back and read that Bloomberg Law article, okay, Guadalupe, for my edification. And if I find that I need to say something, I will. Guys, I'm going to have to jump off momentarily. I have to see if I have someone come in here to meet with me. I need to know if the person is here. Then I have my consultations starting. Yeah, he is here, starting soon. Okay, so let me see how many more questions I can take before I hop off. Let's see. Nathan, okay, thank you. Omar, thank you. Can Nicaraguans who arrived with parole apply for affirmative asylum? Mima is asking. Mima, it truly depends, right? Because same thing can be said for Ukrainians, which I've said publicly that one option that some Ukrainians may have is asylum, which is true. So it's going to depend on why that person used parole to come to the United States to begin with. Why did they do that? Do they really have an affirmative asylum case that they could take to USCIS? And if so, then they should use that opportunity to apply for asylum. Let's see. If I have an approved I-130, okay, can I file for a travel document with my TPS in order to travel and adjust my status here? Jean is asking. So, Jean, TPS, yes, a TPS does allow you to apply for a travel authorization, travel document, and if you get it, you can travel. And if you're eligible for adjustment of status, absolutely, that would be the pathway to take. Contact us to see whether we can do anything for you. Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys. Our phone number is scrolling below. Start off by booking a consultation with us, all right? Someone is asking, do you think that doing advanced parole with DACA and a misdemeanor Class B theft from 24 years ago and criminal record could cause issues re-entering? The criminal issue, if DACA, you got DACA, okay, that's good. You were approved for DACA, and then you have your advanced parole and you want to travel on that criminal record. You might be fine on the re-entry because of that travel document that you have, but certainly speak with an attorney one-on-one before you travel. But I think you might be fine. But I'm just that lady on the internet. Okay? Speak with a lawyer face to face who knows your name. All right? Who knows your name. All right. How long does it take to bring your parents to the United States? Which country would they be coming from, Bengo? It depends on the embassy there. If you're talking about an embassy like Islamabad or Accra, Ghana, then you're talking some time, very long time, because of the fact that those embassies are slower than other embassies. But most places you're looking at maybe a year and a half up to 2 years to bring a parent here from outside of the United States. Thank you guys. Thank you also for that one thumbs down. I appreciate that engagement. I appreciate that one thumbs down. Thank you. Very good work. All right. Someone is asking, can an individual come back from permanent ban for a visitor visa after being caught entering the United States with fake documents? So Trish is asking that, so the scenario that Trish posed is that the person was trying to enter the United States with a fake document, and then they were returned home and they were banned permanently. So the ban that you're speaking about, Trish, is based on the fraud, right? The attempted fraudulent entry. I don't know what type of documents they were using. If it's a U.S. citizen document, well, yes, that's a problem. That is truly permanent. That one is truly permanent. However, there is a waiver process that allows visitors to bring the waiver to the embassy and ask for forgiveness of that previous fraud or whatever that issue is. And if the embassy approves it, then you could get a visitor visa to come back to the U.S. and travel in and out for years. Through that process. Guys, we're at the end of the road. Thank you so much for being with me. 34 minutes in. Contact us 914-898-9488 To go one-on-one with us, visit McBeanLaw.com/success to read our success stories. We had a great one yesterday of helping a Nigerian client get out of removal proceedings, and he didn't even have a pathway to a green card, and so we're grateful that his request was approved. Contact us. We'd love to meet with you. This is a good time to meet with us, a good season. We're here in White Plains, but we meet with folks nationwide via Zoom and also, of course, in person and telephone. You guys are the best. Thank you for coming in today despite the late start. We did our 35 minutes. I'll see you guys again very soon. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram, where I also will be going live this week. It could be tomorrow, I think. It's usually on Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon. Or mornings. I go live on TikTok and Instagram. So follow me there at McBean Immigration Law. You guys are terrific. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.